to the new executive orders that President Trump issued recently. And we're just going to really have time today to only really talk about two of the major ones, which was Executive Order 14151 and Executive Order 14173. Those two executive orders, 14151, essentially is the executive order that is entitled Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing. That executive order is really geared towards instructing the federal government and all of its agencies to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs within the federal government, and to also instructed those federal agencies to essentially cancel any contracts or grants that the government had entered into previously, which were DEI related. And then the second executive order, 14173, also, which is entitled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity, also has the intent and impact to discontinue diversity, equity, inclusion programs within the federal government, and to try and attempt to encourage federal contractors and subcontractors to essentially stop their affirmative action plans, and to encourage private entities, corporations, not-for-profits, higher educational institutions from engaging in diversity, equity, inclusion. The difference between affirmative action and diversity and equity inclusion should be noted, because affirmative action, again, is built on the Executive Order 11246 and requires federal contractors and subcontractors actually to do a statistical analysis of their workforce and determine whether there's underutilization, and then to engage in outreach and recruitment to correct that underutilization over the period of time without using preferences or illegal quotas. The affirmative action plans also require those contractors to prepare annually impact ratio analyses, which is an adverse impact study examining the contractor's employment activities, specifically hiring, firing, and promotional activity. And if it's basically a disparate impact analysis to determine whether that employer is engaging in disparate or engaging in policies that have a disparate impact on a protected class. Those affirmative action plans also required covered entities to perform a compensation analysis, pay equity analysis, to determine whether any of the pay compensation schemes have an adverse impact on a protected group. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, in contrast, doesn't require necessarily any of those analyses, but the policies and programs are intended to do is to broaden a business's activities and workforce activities to touch and reach all groups that may be either protected minorities or females, or a group that is marginalized in society. And so it's not specifically required necessarily by a law, but it was policies and programs that were encouraged by the federal government through various mechanisms, whether it's federal contracts or grants, executive orders, and it trickled down through the economy from those entities that were doing business directly with the government to other entities that realized that diversity, equity, inclusion really is beneficial to their business. And to get a diverse workforce, it was important to make everyone feel welcome within the workplace, and to also try and correct deficiencies that had existed for marginalized groups.